Eduard Gufeld, who was playing with the black pieces, said, "If I had any genius, it woke up on the night I played against Bagirov. Sad as it may be, it turned out to be a genius of one evening. This game was unique in my career. I'm not Fischer, Karpov or Kasparov, whose genius is always awake, but I'm grateful to my destiny for this particular evening." So what exactly happened in the game? Let's have a look. d4, g6, c4, bishop g7, knight c3, d6, e4, knight f6, f3. While Gufeld has quickly castled in the game, White on the other hand has focused his initial moves in taking control of the center of the board. Look at this beautiful pawn structure and all these pieces hiding behind the strong pawn structure. Bishop to e3, knight c6, knight g to e2, rook b8, queen d2, a6, and now here Bagirov played bishop to h6, looking to trade this bishop over here. Well, I guess this move is too early because White hasn't castled yet in the game. He still needs to develop this bishop, but what White is aiming for is a quick attack on Black's king side. Obviously, White is looking forward to push these pawns over here, launch an attack on Black's king while castling on the queen side. So what should Black do over here? Should he capture this bishop? Well, no, because if he does, then the queen will come over here and it will remain here forever, and all these pawns and pieces are coming this side, and you don't want to mess up your position like that. So obviously Gufeld ignored this bishop and started to focus on creating an attack on the queen side of the board as well as in opening up the center, because White's king is still sitting in the center, and if at all if he castles, he might be castling on the queen side. So b5 played by Gufeld, starting his own series of attack. White is pushing his own idea, h4. White is like, I don't care what you're doing on the queen side or on the center, I'm gonna immediately start attacking on the king side. h4 by White, and now e5 by Black. Black is like, I'm gonna open up your center and the queen side and your king will be soon exposed. And here White played bishop takes bishop, king takes bishop, and now h5, a bold move. Pawn is under attack. Should Black capture? Obviously no. Black should just get his king to the g8 square, but Gufeld moved his king to the h8 square. Not the best move. And now knight to d5 by White, centralizing his knight and controlling a lot of key squares in Black's territory. Gufeld opened up the queen side with pawn takes pawn, and Bagirov is trying to open up the king side over here with h takes g6, and now f takes g6, and now queen to h6, putting tremendous pressure on the h7 point. Also, do not forget that though this king and the knight are currently protecting this pawn, but this knight is under tremendous pressure because the d5 knight is attacking this knight over here. So once this knight moves out of the board, this would be a checkmate. So how can Gufeld prevent this checkmate threat? Guess what? He came up with a fantastic solution, knight to h5, moving the knight away from the attack as well as blocking the connection of the queen and the rook. Now g4 is an obvious move over here. You will obviously attack the knight so that once it moves, there is a checkmate threat. But so how do you play in this position? Gufeld decided to play bold. He's like, I'm not gonna scared of your attack on the king side. In fact, I'm also gonna start attacking you on the queen side of the board. So he plays rook takes pawn. The rook has entered the second rank and the king hasn't castled yet. Bagirov captured the free knight, and now instead of capturing this pawn back and allowing your opponent to capture back with the rook and again dealing with this checkmate threat on the h7, Gufeld played a very creative move, g5, just completely locking down the h file. The queen and the rook cannot be connected anymore. Such a great move by Gufeld. Now, how can the opponent continue to attack on the king side? So he played rook to g1, attacking the pawn over here and then eventually getting the rook over here in order to checkmate again at the h7 point. And here Gufeld played g4, just pushing the pawn further, and here White decided to castle queen side first. Not only he has castled, but now also he is attacking Black's rook over here. Gufeld captured the free pawn and remained on the queen side in White's territory, and here White made the mistake of playing knight e to f4, just giving up the knight for free. Well, why is he giving the knight for free? Well, the idea was, if Black captures, White can capture back with another knight, and then this knight can come over here with a fork attack on both the pieces, and Black's position would worsen more. So knight e to f4, Gufeld captured the knight anyway, and now knight takes pawn. Since the knight is threatening to fork over here, Gufeld went bold with an exchange sacrifice, rook takes knight, just eliminating the attacker. Queen takes rook and now c3. Gufeld has a passed pawn and this pawn is gonna put immense pressure on white's queen side. Bishop to c4, developing the bishop to a square where it can actively control an important square right next to the black king. You can see in this game how beautifully both the players are trying to attack the opponent's king while keeping their own kings carelessly open to the opponent's pieces. While this move controls these important square right next to the black king, do not forget that it is also currently attacking our rook over here. So rook moved to a3 and now white played pawn takes pawn. That's a very slow move. White could have played something better over here, but he just went slow with his attack and that gave chance black to get more pieces towards white's queen side of the board. Starting with knight to b4 controls the squares around the king to allows this pawn to move one more step forward, and also most importantly there is a threat of this fork attack. Well, you might be thinking this rook is anyway controlling this square, the bishop is controlling this square, so black can't really take advantage of this square, but you will be shocked to see what happened next. White played king to b1 and black here played bishop to e6. Wow! Black is offering a free piece over here. Why is he doing that? Well, in order to deviate this bishop from taking control of this square. This position seems a total chaos because white owns the center. White has a very strong center control, but that doesn't seem very relevant because both the players are trying hard to launch their deadly attack against other king, and the race has already begun as to who will checkmate the other guy first. Bagirov captured the free bishop and now Gufeld played another bold move, another creative and daring move, knight to d3, attacking the queen. What is the idea? The idea is to open up the b file for the black queen to attack the white king. So if white focuses on protecting his queen anywhere by moving it anywhere on the board, then he is completely losing because the initiative is now going into black's hand, and with this pawn and the rook and the queen straight aiming towards white's king, it would be difficult for white to save his game. So what happened in the game? Did white move the queen? Well, white moved the queen to the f7 square, but that wasn't a great move because the initiative is now in black's hand and black started the attack with queen b8 check. White blocked the check with his bishop and now rook takes bishop check, king to c2, knight to b4 check. Black is sacrificing a rook now. Just imagine, white took the rook and now knight d5 check. King moved to c2 and now the powerful queen invades white's territory with queen b2 check. King moves to d3, queen b5 check. And here at this point of time, though Bagirov was up in material by a whooping 6 points, he resigned from the game. Why? Because white's king is totally exposed and there is a mate in 4. So can you find the mate in 4 moves in this position? Let me know your answers in the comments box below. And before you leave, I want to tell you an interesting fact about this game. This game is called as the Mona Lisa because Eduard Gufeld said in his book that every painter dreams of creating his own Mona Lisa. No other game has ever given me so much satisfaction. Even now, after over a quarter of century, I still take pleasure in recalling this game. Then I forget my troubles and remember the dream that came true. So for Gufeld, this was the Mona Lisa that he painted on the chessboard because he sacrificed so much material and went bold with his decisions in attacking the white's king, ultimately making his opponent resign in the game despite being up in material by 6 points. I hope you enjoyed watching this game. Keep learning chess and keep practicing.